Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Karlene and this week we're hanging out in the kitchen and I'm going to share two very easy and budget-friendly breakfasts that you can make ahead and cook once and eat all week long. A sweet apple pie baked oatmeal and a savoury baked beans and ham from scratch. If you are interested in simple living, easy recipes and cozy homemaking, then you're definitely in the right spot. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. The first recipe that I am sharing with you today was a little bit of an experiment. So I will put the details in the description box below for both recipes. And we're going to start with soaking some oatmeal overnight. Oatmeal is a really budget-friendly way to feed your family and it's also nutritious. We're adding in some almond milk because we're going lactose-free at the moment. I figured that this would also be high in protein because I wanted this to be able to fill our bellies and not feel like we have to snack in between because the snacks are expensive, am I right? Yeah, where I live anyway. Inflation. It got you too? Yeah, me too. Okay, so we're going to soak this overnight with some honey for some sweetness. You could substitute for maple syrup or brown sugar. We're going to add some warm spices like ground cinnamon. I've got some nutmeg and some allspice. I did want to try soaking the oats overnight, just like you would with birch muesli, because it is meant to be easier for your body to digest. But I didn't find that it, added anything to the texture of the oatmeal. I was sort of thinking, sometimes if you've had baked oatmeal before, some bits can be like dry and crunchy, but like in a bad way. I didn't have that with this, but I did find it took longer to bake because I did bake it in a round dish because I figured, apple pie is a round. So normally I would do like a rectangular dish with like something with a lid that I can store with. But you do you. I just wanted to try something different on this day since I was experimenting. We're adding in some homemade vanilla essence, and this is the mixture that I'm just going to pop it in a container and let that soak overnight. But you can skip this step if you just want to mix it together quickly and then bake it straight away. So we're back in the next day and I'm starting to second guess myself because the oats have absorbed all of that liquid, which is great, but I'm thinking, is this going to dry out? It didn't. It wasn't dry, but I do feel like if I did have a 9 by 13 inch dish, then it would have been crispier, because of the surface area would have been more, and it would have taken quicker to bake because it wouldn't have been so thick. But I mean, do as I say, not as I do. And I want to make this really quick and easy to pull together. So I'm not going to be chopping anything. I'm just going to go ahead and grate 1 cup of apples. I was aiming for 1 cup. I went with 2 large apples, 1 Royal Gala and 1 Granny Smith apple. And I'm just going to grate those until I get to the core. That's why I keep checking, because I don't want to get any of the seeds or any of those crunchy core bits into our mixture. So I'm just going to spin that little apple core around until I get all 4 sides grated up. I didn't find that the apple skins were too rough or anything like that while we were eating it. It was fine. I mean, it's extra fiber too, right? That's meant to be good for you, the best part for you. So I'm just going to scrape all of those apple juices and grated apple into my bowl, and I'm going to go ahead and then grate my second apple. We're going to add in some baking powder, some coconut oil, give that a good mix through, and we're ready to get that into the oven. After baking this dish until it was nice and golden and cooked through, my kitchen smelled so good. It smelled like warm apple pie, which is why I named it as such. Now, I could be a complete glutton and have made a caramel ganache, like a caramel sauce with cooked down butter and brown sugar, but I was like, no, that is not healthy breakfast food. It would have been really nice, but that's not healthy breakfast food. So I ended up just cutting myself out a wedge and spooning on some yogurt, which was having issues because it was still hot and it was melting off the side. But by this point, I was just so excited to try it. I'd been waiting already since I'd soaked it overnight, and I was so ready to eat this. So I like to add a dash of milk normally when I'm eating baked oatmeal, but for this in particular, I was like, this needs some honey drizzled on top and a sprinkle of cinnamon, and it was so good. What do you think? Would you try this? Would your family enjoy this for breakfast? Comment below and let me know what you think. Our next recipe is baked beans from scratch with beans that I have soaked overnight, and I forgot to film this part. So this is the packet of the beans that I used. I used a whole 375 gram pack of a 5 bean mix, and I soaked them overnight in some water. In the cooler months, those packets are often half price, so keep your eyes peeled for those. If you're looking for some more tips on how to stay on budget with your groceries, I will link a helpful video below. This is everything that we're going to need. You can substitute fresh garlic or garlic powder, depending on what you have on hand. I am adding in a whole red capsicum because it's full of vitamin C and it's cold and sniffle season. And we're going to add in some fresh onion. Again, you can substitute with powdered onion powder if you like. And we're going to add in a whole meaty smoked ham hock. I chose the biggest one that I could find, to be honest. Along with some herbs and spices, and I will add all of those details below. So to make this really quick and easy for us, we're going to need a slow cooker. We're going to start by adding in our soaked and drained dried beans. Now I soaked mine for about, I think it was about 6 to 8 hours, closer to 8, but if I was to make this again, I would soak it overnight, closer to 12 hours, because I did find that after I had finished slow cooking them, after that period of time, they were still on the crunchier side, and I ended up having a sick baby actually, so I ended up putting it on high for an extra 3 hours, and then I ended up just putting it on warm, and it was on warm for the rest of the late afternoon until I could get back to it. Full disclosure. So if I was to make it again, I would definitely soak them for that little bit longer. So we're going to add in our 2 cans of diced tomatoes, a teaspoon of jarlic, jarred garlic, but if you've got a couple of fresh cloves, throw them in. If you cannot be bothered to chop any garlic and you're under the pump, use garlic powder. I'm going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and I've got some liquid smoke here. I ordered this online because I found it in so many recipes and I do enjoy using it. So I went in with about a tablespoon of that. It's going to add some smokiness along with the smoked ham hock. I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I did initially, and then I went back in with about maybe another tablespoon and a half at the end, just to add a bit of zing. Then we'll add in our spices. So I will detail this below, but we've got salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, ground chilli, mustard powder, smoked paprika, and brown sugar as well. But I will detail the quantities below. We're going to give this a good mix through before almost forgetting our onion and capsicum over to the side there. I will add those in. Give that a good stir, and then we're going to go in and add 1 can of water to this mixture, because I want to have enough liquid that the beans, once they're cooked and absorbing it, that it's not going to dry out, because I'm going to leave this in the slow cooker overnight, so then breakfast is ready in the morning when I wake up. So I'm just going to go ahead and just rinse out some of the tomato juice and everything like that gets stuck to the bottom of the can, and we're just going to add that mixture into our slow cooker. Now that we have all of our main ingredients mixed together to flavour the baked beans, we're going to add in 1 meaty ham hock, and we're just going to try and submerge that under the liquid. I ended up having to dig out some of the baked beans underneath it so I could get it right in there. I felt like my eyes were bigger than my stomach, in the sense that I wanted the biggest, juiciest looking ham hock, but I didn't think about the size of it fitting in my slow cooker. I think I might need to upgrade to a bigger one. What do you think? Time to wipe out our slow cooker so we don't bake on any stains to make our life harder than it needs to be. We're going to flick that onto low and let that cook overnight so we can wake up to a delicious hearty breakfast in the morning. Okay, so it's the next morning after leaving this in the slow cooker overnight. I'm just adding some shallots for some greenery to brighten up a little bit, but this ham hock meat just fell off the bone. It was so tender, just stirring the pot of baked beans, everything, all the meat was just falling off the bone. So that was really easy to dish up for breakfast beautiful with a slice of toasted sourdough, or to change it up, you could do it on English muffins. You could even add it to a skillet if you were to reheat it later on in the week, and crack some eggs into it, like some nice runny eggs like shakshuka style, and put that in the grill, in the oven. So there's lots of different ways that you can enjoy these baked beans. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know below, are you a sweet or a savoury fan when it comes to breakfast? I'm a little bit of both, a bit of column A and a bit of column B. If I'm lucky, I get both. Now, the other thing that I really love about making a big batch of baked beans from scratch is that it is freezer friendly. I had this for breakfast and then later on for lunch because I had a sick baby and I just wanted to eat something super quick and easy, and it was sitting there and it was still hot, so I had that for lunch too. I really didn't care having it twice. So what you can do if you don't want your family to get sick of having baked beans all the time, like in that 1 week, you can put some in a freezer bag and then lay it flat and flatten it out after it's cooled down. Obviously this is still hot. Let it cool down on the bench and then stick it in the freezer nice and flat, and that's a really easy way that you can have a make ahead meal that you can freeze for later. You can even defrost it if you've got, the big breakfast with the family on a Sunday and you've got bacon, eggs, hash browns, and like an easy side dish that you can pull out, which is another reason why I love making this recipe. Okay guys, that's my sweet and savory recipe for this week that you can make ahead for breakfast, which is great on a budget, even freezer friendly. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this week's video, and I will also link some of my other popular cooking videos that I think you might enjoy below, so check that out too. Okay, well, thank you for watching and hanging out with me this week. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.